480 years before Christ, the wind screamed across the Hellespont, the narrow, dangerous strait that divides Asia from Europe. The sea rolled black and furious under a gray winter sky. On the shore waited the largest army the world had ever seen. More than 1 million men, horses, wagons, and ships stretching beyond sight. At their head stood Xerxes I, the king of kings, ruler of the Persian Empire, heir to Darius the Great. He had come to finish what his father had begun, to conquer Greece and prove that no power, human or divine, could deny him. For weeks, his engineers had built a floating bridge of ships so his army could march over the water itself. But when the storm came, it tore the bridge to pieces. The waves devoured months of labor in a single night. At dawn, only wreckage remained, the sea calm again, as if nothing had happened. To his soldiers, it was an act of nature. To Xerxes, it was rebellion. The emperor stood staring at the ruins. He did not shout or curse. He simply gave an order that stunned even his guards. The sea would be punished. 300 men stepped forward carrying whips of hide and bronze. They struck the waves again and again while priests shouted oaths. "You bitter water," they cried. "Our Lord will pass over you, whether you wish it or not." Chains were thrown into the surf as if to bind it. Red-hot irons hissed where they touched the foam, marking the sea like a slave. The punishment of the Hellespont had begun. It sounds like legend, but the record exists. In the pages of Herodotus, written within a lifetime of the events, the line appears without comment. The king commanded that the Hellespont be scourged with 300 lashes and fetters cast upon it. No exaggeration, no metaphor, just fact. When the ritual was done, Xerxes ordered a new bridge built, 2 of them, stronger than before. This time, the weather held. The sea lay silent, and the King of Kings marched his vast army across the water into Europe. To his followers, the ocean had submitted. To his enemies, it was the calm before ruin. To understand the rage that led him there, we have to step back. Xerxes had inherited not a throne, but a wound. His father, Darius, had failed to conquer Greece, and that failure haunted the empire. Persia called its ruler the living image of Ahura Mazda, god of light and order. For such a man, defeat was unthinkable. When the bridge fell, the balance of the universe itself seemed to break. The sea had humiliated the divine. So Xerxes struck it. Some say he believed the ocean was alive and must be disciplined, a force that could learn obedience. Others think the act was theater, a show of divine power meant to keep his soldiers in awe. In an empire built on fear, spectacle was a weapon. Yet there is another possibility, that the emperor's godhood finally cracked, that he lashed the waves because he could not bear to admit weakness. A man worshipped as a god cannot simply say, "The wind was stronger than me." For a time, his conquest seemed unstoppable. Greek cities burned, their people scattered before the Persian tide. But soon, the tide turned for real. At Salamis, the smaller Greek fleet trapped his massive navy in the narrow straits. The same sea he had whipped now swallowed his ships. Sails ripped, hulls splintered, thousands drowned. At Plataea, his armies were crushed, and the dream of conquering Greece died in the dust. The man who punished the ocean was defeated by it. When Xerxes returned to Persia, he withdrew from the world. The records speak of endless construction, secret feasts, sudden rages. He trusted no one. In the end, he was killed by one of his own guards. His empire survived, but the legend of his madness survived longer. Centuries passed. The bridges rotted away, their timber sinking into silt. Divers have searched the Dardanelles for traces of them, iron rings, ropes turned to stone. But nothing has ever been found. Only the story remains. Greeks repeated it as a warning against hubris, the arrogance that defies the gods. Persians told it as a tale of power. Even the sea must bow to the King of Kings. Between those versions lies something hauntingly human, a man so powerful he could command the world, yet still powerless before it. Some fishermen along the strait still talk about sudden storms that rise from clear skies. They call them the Emperor's winds. They say the sea remembers the lashes. It is superstition, perhaps, but every myth begins somewhere. What makes the story endure is not its absurdity, but its truth. Every age produces its own Xerxes, leaders who believe they can master the forces around them, who mistake command for control. They build their bridges and curse the storms that tear them down. And the sea, patient and endless, waits for them all. No empire lasts forever. No voice shouts down the tide. The sea cannot be chained. That is why the tale of Xerxes still feels alive today. It is the oldest lesson in power. Nature does not negotiate. A king may conquer nations, but he cannot conquer the wind. Perhaps the truth still lies hidden beneath those waters, chains buried deep, ships lost to time, the echoes of whips fading into the current. Or perhaps the only thing left is the memory of a man who struck the sea because he could not bear to see himself defeated. So remember the story of the emperor who declared war on the ocean, because every empire, every dream of total power will one day face its own storm. If this story intrigued you, subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss our deep dives into the strangest corners of history. And tell us in the comments, which part unsettled you most? Was it the soldiers lashing the waves, or the silence that followed when the sea stopped fighting back? Next time, we'll uncover another forgotten chapter of history, one even stranger than this.